Hello and welcome to another episode of What We Are Watching. We're Knack Entertainment. I'm Ed.
I'm Catherine.
Hi, it's Liz.
And John.
And I'll just dive right into this episode. We're going to start talking about all these shows that we love, and I'm going to bring up an old one because we all love the show, and it's a great palate cleanser, as we like to say. It's called The Good Place.
Oh, sure. Sure.
Like my younger brother, like to do a rewatch of some good series. This is one that's on my list. It's a short series, too. It's only 4 seasons.
Oh, so you have watched and you're rewatching the whole thing again?
I've probably watched it 3 times already, all the way through. It's
Really?
One of those series where every season, a new season came out. I rebooted the entire thing and watched it from the beginning so I could get back into the characters, back into the stories, figure out where they were. And this particular series, it's pretty linear. It's like the next day. Every single episode is like the next day, and an hour later, the next episode, and then it doesn't do that sometimes. And you're like, what happened? Where? It's been so many times. How many times have you done that? So similar to Groundhog Day on a repeat mode, The Good Place really delves into that, where like you get to a full experience in each episode, and then it goes right back to something else in the next episode. And there's lots of good stuff to learn in that show. There's lots of philosophical commentary and conversation and things. And it's also kind of nice to watch the trash characters, like the crappy characters that are being played out, once you already know the payoff for them, to watch them actually be in their not paid off, haven't learned anything, kind of still building up mode. It's fun to watch those characters get rebuilt because you know where they're going, and it pays off a lot to see all those pieces as they're actually being, put onto the playing field, as it were.
For sure, the best part of a rewatch, you know where it's going, so you get to enjoy the setup much more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, one of the super benefits of a rewatch is that you don't have to be so stressed out about where is this going, how's it going to end. Like, you already, you don't have that element. You're already set, it's going to be good, so you can just enjoy.
We're not trying to be any kind of spoiler-free podcast, but I will say this. My notes for this episode of What We Were Watching, not sure what I was going to talk about, but I have notes for all the things that I watch. Some of the really brief notes, just like, oh yeah, I know you love this, you just don't need to write a whole bunch of stuff about that. My note is, needed some Jeremy Bear Me.
Oh,
I just needed some comfort science that made me feel good about the planet and the world and wasn't news.
Right. Well, this was created by Michael Schur, and he has a book that just came out, How to Be Perfect, the Correct Answer to Every Moral Question.
really? I didn't know that.
I don't think his answers are correct, but sure, go ahead.
Well,
it's only 6,000 pages long.
Yeah, wow. I think it's only 300. And you're like, wow,
did he do it from the Chidi perspective or which perspective?
Maybe. I don't know. But I just, it's interesting because he's actually in the news because that book just came out. And I think he wrote it during COVID because he, like a lot of people had some downtime.
Yeah,
Right.
It's easy to focus. Not a lot was distracting you.
And he was the one that decided to end it at the 4th season, correct?
I believe he
As
said
the showrunner, creator.
The plan was 4 seasons, which, okay. I mean, look, I could have had more Good Place, but he was like, nope, that's my plan.
Anyone remember this, Easter egg or like mind-blowing little nugget? The Good Place auto-translates everyone. And Chidi, the name Chidi, which is an interesting name, but is now out there, and we're all like, oh, yeah, no, Chidi, yeah,
sure,
I've said
Chidi.
Chidi 1,000 times. I've said it. He doesn't speak English on planet Earth. He's not English-speaking in the original series. Like,
What?
they rebooted it, and he does speak English, and he's got this girlfriend in town, and that whole other part in, like, season 2, 3, whatever, the very beginning, he doesn't speak English.
Oh my gosh, I didn't track that at all.
But they translate everything in the entire series for you because they only mention that in the first episode.
Oh, and then because
Yeah,
wasn't
no,
he in
I missed
Australia?
that.
He was
Yeah.
teaching in Australia when we catch back up with him.
That's what I believe is part of the reboot, is that's where they all get back together. They all do a class together, but that's not the original, like, plucked out of the planet first time they died.
Oh, how interesting.
Well, it was an interesting cast because
Of course, John's going to check my
besides
facts.
Kristen Bell, right?
Mm-hmm. And Ted Danson.
Ted Danson, but I don't. Was
Who? Ted Danson who?
I love him.
Oh, he was amazing.
My
Ted
son and my
Danson.
husband they caught it up later. They started to watch it, I think, already when there was 3 seasons. But Kristen Bell was pretty much the big name.
I think the background story is that Kristen Bell and Ted Danson, because they are the bigger names that were involved in the show, they were the only ones who knew what was actually happening. Like yeah,
well, you probably can't get them to sign on unless they.
I think that was that was the bit.
It's the Alan Rickman.
Yeah,
probably very true. Because I think the one, Tahini, I mean, that might have been one of her first acting jobs.
I think it was her first acting job. She was a model, right? I believe. Anyway, she was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamila Jamil. What a great
the
name,
main cast, knocked it out of the park in a way that you weren't expecting, but it was such a joy to watch all of them play off of each other and build off of each other. But there's, me, I like the special effects side of stuff and the computer side of stuff. There are some great behind-the-scenes interviews with the special effects team that Michael Schur would come up to them and be like, okay, so in this episode, we're going to have shrimp cocktails, 50-foot sized shrimp cocktails flying across the sky. And they're like, we're doing what in this episode?
What?
Okay, yeah, but then we're also going to have everyone fly. We're doing what in this episode? And they just kept coming back and getting it done. And just every episode is hysterically beyond surreal.
Well, I'm always 1 degree of separation from most shows, right? So I'm going to do a little Liz connect the dots. So I have worked with 2 of the directors from The Good Place.
Oh, nice.
Dean Holland and Morgan Sackett, and their production company, which is called Dunshire, which they're partners with Kristen Bell.
Oh, there
as
you
well.
go.
So who I've worked with in an unrelated project. And they're very funny about budgets and being told what is expected and what they're going to try to pull out. And they're pretty, they can pull things together out of a hat, but it is ingenuity. Yeah. So, but they have a very quirky, dark, I don't know if dark, maybe just quirky sense of humor. And so even the things that I've worked with them on, I think I've worked with them 2 or 3 times on different projects, it comes through. And that seems to be sort of the tone that even Kristen Bell, some of her projects have.
Towards, yeah.
And so, but they're very professional. And when you just talk about budget, there were a couple of things that, let's just say when we got the original budget for a commercial we're going to shoot with them, it was oh my God, we have half the money, and somehow they made it work. So they're pretty impressive. But yeah.
Honestly, that's an exceptional, it's both what their follow through was amazing because it could have easily been bad effects all over the place, and then also just that's the kismet of this crew and that cast that they somehow fit together so perfectly that they could all rise to this occasion. And then because then you watch it, you have no idea. You're like, wow, they just spent a ton of money all over the place because this is amazing,
right?
And one of them said to me, "Is oh yeah, when you get a script and there's kids and animals in it, you're like, that's got to go because it's time and money. I mean, it's a lot of time and money and restrictions. Yeah. So.
One of my least favorite parts of the series is how quickly it burned through thousands and thousands of fantastic ideas that I wanted to spend hours and hours and hours enjoying.
You mean, is it the top of season 2 where they just do a montage of them figuring it out and they figure it out and they figure it out and they figure it out?
So many, because the first season is there's a gimmick in the show that the characters don't know what's going on, and so when they finally get in on it or behind the curtain, reveal Oz as it were, then the show
oh my gosh,
have we through 1,000 iterations.
Hold on 1 second. Have we managed to not actually spoil so don't say it. I think God, because if you haven't watched The Good Place,
just go watch it.
Go watch it.
Where is it available to watch now?
I believe I'm watching it on Netflix, but let me check my data.
And listen, I will say, what I found interesting, which is not the most typical, and I actually just had an off podcast conversation, save it for the pod, but about leads not being likable. And Kristen Bell's, Eleanor was her name, right?
Yeah, Eleanor Shellstrap.
Was not a very...
Shellstrap. Is that wrong?
I don't know about the name. But I feel like for her character seemingly being unlikable, she's very likable to watch.
She's very likable,
100%. Yeah. But her character was kind of a jerk. But, you liked the jerk. And so you did root for her. Unlike what we were talking about, like I said, off the pod. We were talking about we'll get into it on other episodes, but basically about characters. That'd be a good Patreon. Lead characters that we kind of
Oh yeah, that
you can't root for. You
Yeah.
cannot root for them for like moral reasons, but yet the show's a huge hit.
Yeah,
So
shows that we had to stop watching because there was
you
literally
root for
no one
Eleanor. You root for her because you wanted her to figure it out and make it work for sure. Yeah, but good place.
Yeah,
So
that's a good one, Ed.
not just the iterations. The last little thing I have to offer on this one is, if you haven't seen the series, fine. If you have seen the series, fine. Go back and watch again and read every single business name in the background. They're fantastic.
They're amazing.
Catherine, you've spoken about this. There's a woman who's like, yeah, and then I just came up with 20 yogurt restaurant names.
Yeah,
and that's what they. What?
She was amazing.
Megan. God, what?
Oh, we'll have to tag her.
That's someone that we should
because she was.
She was
I mean, she did. I think she did like an
her
episode
name is Megan
Amram.
That's who it is. And
Got
Ed.
it. Right. Nice.
And I will tell you right now, I actually, because I follow her on some social, I was like, this is Ed as a female. Because she's
the pun queen.
Because
she's
some
amazing.
of your puns,
I accept.
Yeah, some of your puns are ridiculous. And you could sit in a room and if they're like, hi, we need like 50 pun names for a pet shop. You would come up with so many ridiculous names.
I wouldn't stop is the problem, is that I hired by whatever that writer was to be her assistant because she's tired of coming up with restaurant names. Today, 4 years after that series
Still
is
working
canceled,
on it.
I'd be texting her hilarious names that I come up. I'd do it right now.
I remember finding her on Instagram or like I said on one of the socials that, oh my God, this is Ed. This would be Ed's dream job. Yes, that's very true. I forgot about that. And my son would laugh at that because he'd see it in the background and think that was very funny, some of the names.
Yeah, so I do like some good set design and, whatever.
Oh, yeah, it was fabulous.
Really good
All
poll.
right.
So
That
4
was
seasons
my
available on
Netflix.
Okay, great. I can go speaking of Netflix.
Oh, great. Awesome. Take it.
And talking about watching something with my son. So it's Liz, everybody. So we're watching Archive 81.
Oh, I started that. Yeah.
Now, it's interesting because, my son's now of the age
Can
where
I ask where that is first? Because
Netflix.
I was going to say, I'm sure it's not a Warehouse 13 spinoff.
No.
Sci-Fi Channel isn't doing anything I watch anymore.
No,
I'm
that's
just
what I said.
sad about it. But
Warehouse
it sounds like a
13.
Warehouse 13. So anyways.
No, Atomic Monster is the production company, and they did like freaky movies like Annabelle and something related to The Conjurer.
Oh boy, that does track with
Someone's in
That
your
means
house.
don't watch it.
Yeah, so I have no
not
idea
John's
who you're
cup of
talking about.
tea.
John and I are like, no.
Here's
I
the
watched
deal:
Good Place.
a little Kilmon family history. We're all chicken shit when it comes to scary movies. Like,
Correct.
we cannot handle it. But I married.
Weirdly, with our father having been in Psycho, all of us are chicken shit.
Yeah, it did not matter. It's our mother's fault because we're not allowed to watch it, and something
It's R-rated.
Well, also because if something becomes that like big dun dun dun, this is going to keep them up at night, give them nightmares. You're like, is it? You're right, it is. And then as an adult, it's still haunted by it.
You know what?
Yeah, for sure.
Seeing a poster of Freddy was keeping me up at night. The whole movie. I didn't need the whole movie. All
can
I needed was
digest that.
Why is
No.
his face melted? I'm going to think about that until 2 a.m.
Pretty much. So, but my husband Mark, who I married, the exact opposite. Like his mother, practically from birth, was like, "Let's
movie,
watch
sure.
The Exorcist, everything." And I would go over there as a kid because I grew up with him, and they did something which I still hate to this day. Every light would be off in the house to watch a movie, and it'd be a scary movie. And if you had to pee, you're like, "I'm going to hold this till fucking tomorrow."
I can't walk
Because
down that
I
hall, that
cannot
dark
walk
hall.
down that dark hallway in the middle of a horror movie. So literally a soundtrack's going on behind you because they're not going to stop the movie for
Mark
you.
is responsible
there's
for
no
your
pausing.
first UTI. That's no good. That's no good.
Well, maybe his mother is my mother-in-law. But she even tortured me. There was a famous movie. God, what was that called? Oh, not Lightning Bolt. Corey Haim. He's in a wheelchair and he's being chased by a werewolf. God, it's going to drive me crazy.
Silver Bullet, maybe?
Silver Bullet.
Oh my God, I'm trying to
Is
type
it a
it
movie
into.
before 1994?
Shut up.
They know it.
I can't believe I pulled that out of nowhere.
That traumatized me because it started off all great, da da da, and then of course he's trying to like wheelchair himself through some field at dusk, and there's a high moon
I
rising.
don't know if this entire last 5 minutes is just a Patreon we're going to cut out, but what did you watch this week?
How dare you? Ed? So, anyways, we can, exactly. So our child has been traumatized by horror movies. So when my son now sees something like Archive 81, he's like, "Let's watch it." I do know that we have to watch it by a certain time at night because he's going to need like Schitt's Creek afterwards. Like he needs
a palate cleanser.
He needs a palate cleanser. And he'll say that, like, I need a palate cleanser. I'm like, oh my God, what have I done to my child?
So Good Place on deck.
Yep. So Archive 81, really creepy, sinister, sci-fi. So it's about like...
But young enough to watch with your teenage son.
Yes, he's loving it.
And they're like sexy.
And he'd be like, I don't know if you guys agree with me. That's what I love. He goes, I don't know if you guys agree with me. But Netflix really knocked it out of the park with this one.
Oh, what a surprise that Netflix did a good job. What?
Leonard Maltin Jr. over there.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, let's start a debate right now. Wow. And they're like, hold my hand, Mom. Like, we're totally vested into it. So it's about an archivist who is supposed to restore tapes from a hotel fire, which was called the Visser Hotel. No, it wasn't a hotel. Sorry. It was like an apartment building. And of course,
already love the idea of the vintage, like the vintage in the now, and your current teenage son is like, ooh, restoring film.
Well, it's not film, it's video, but
whatever.
It's
he's like, what's a VHS tape? Yeah, exactly.
Little cassettes, but I will say the sequences.
Wait, are they mini DV or VHS-C?
Shut up.
Are they high 8?
They could have been the. Wasn't there an 8mm version?
High 8, I just said it.
Oh my God.
High 8.
Oh, high 8. They could be high 8, Sean.
8. The 8 of us. I don't know.
The sequences.
Are you watching this too?
Yes, I said I was watching it.
Oh, you haven't said that yet.
You did. Catherine said
I
it.
absolutely said I was
I
watching
didn't
it.
listen to you. I didn't listen to you. That's
good.
different.
It's okay. You and I, the two chicken shit. The two men are not. The two women are watching.
I'm
Two
definitely
chicken
not going
shits. The two chick and shits.
Chicks. The two chicks.
Us
Okay.
and you two the shits. Okay. What I was trying to say, but kept like bumbling through it, was the sequences where he is taking the little cassettes apart and like cleaning them and like putting them on.
I love
in a new,
long
it's great.
cotton swab. I mean that long.
I don't know if
cotton
that take
swab,
that out of context.
but I do like it. It's like very like, ooh, what he's about to clean.
You like a deep COVID test.
Yeah, well, oh God. So, there's a lot of creepy elements to it. And so it's suspenseful. It's sci-fi. There's elements of the occult, and then weird. Maybe there's a sex cult going on. So much weirdness. And you know what? You drop a priest in the Catholic Church in there with our background in there.
Yeah.
And I'm always more vested. So I think episode 4, loving it.
Yeah, I think I'm at 3.
But I'm going to say, it is creepy. I'm not blowing anything because the whole half of it is this Dan Turner, the main character. I mean, he's looking at a screen at this old video footage. So at one point, Ethan has asked me, my son, to hold his hand. And, one of the characters comes right up to the screen and then does that classic, reaches through the screen. And Ethan jumped through his skin. He's like, that was a great special effect. Because he hasn't seen some of these other ones where like it's been done.
It's the first time he's seen that effect.
He's like, how'd they do that? And I'm going, oh my God. And Mark goes, there's so much more horror I have to show you. I go, oh my God.
Don't traumatize him further.
No.
Okay.
So shows like this where for the most part, I don't know the cast members. So I can really get vested. Most of them are not known actors, so it doesn't take me out where you go, I know that person. They're all very good, but I don't recognize most of them.
The only one I recognized, the guy who plays his best friend, was in Orange is the New Black.
Oh yeah, he's great. And Virgil, the sinister owner of the company that hires him, which no one can find any information about them online about. Okay, that alone should tell you they're evil.
Super creepy.
Is your husband watching this with you, or is it just you and
No,
Ethan?
Mark, no, this is totally Mark's jam, so he's watching
Okay, I was just going to say, because it's either he's not watching it because it reminds him too much of our old jobs, my sister Catherine and myself, and your husband Mark have all worked in videotape, and that might just be like, I'm just watching me at work. This is terrible.
No. And I will say the one other thing I'm watching now, because this is archive, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to relate it to something. And Ethan called me out on it this week. I'm watching something called Torn, which is a Disney Plus movie. And it is, I really like, and I think, John, you and I are on the same.
Tell me more.
Yeah. I love anything to do with climbing, hiking, naturists.
You mean like rock climbing?
Alpinists. Like, oh my God. I love it. And it always gets me all teared up crying. I just love someone clutching a rock cliff with one fingernail. Like, it gets me so excited. So I saw it on Disney Plus called Torn, and it's really about this family. It's climber Alex Lowell.
It's not a biopic of Rip Torn. Okay.
No,
I
it's
just wasn't sure where we're going.
No, but I'm sure.
Although I hope that exists somewhere.
No, it's not. So it's called Torn, and it's the director of it is the climber Alex Lowell's son, Max Lowell. And you know what's amazing about it? And this goes back to Archive 81. The dad, this had to take place in like the 80s and early 90s. Because I think he did actually, the incident happened in the Himalayas or Tibet in 1999, recorded and had so much beautiful footage. So the archives are freaking amazing. The son can go back to create this documentary about his father. Because he was 10 when his dad died. And he had 2 younger brothers, which is very rare in the world of climbing. They usually do not marry. They usually do not have children because their lives are so high risk.
Oh, wow. I hadn't
and
realized
so that. It was an anomaly.
And exactly those results. Like you have a 10-year-old and 2 younger boys, and then that's it. That's
so
a wrap.
the 2 younger ones really don't remember him, which even tied into like you 2 younger boys were of a young age when our own father passed away. So that even came up for me kind of as a memory. And there is some twists in it that are so interesting. So I watched that this weekend. Listen, John and I loved Free Solo. I love the Alpinist, Touching the Void, Summit. Like I can go on and on. Like even Welcome to Earth with Will Smith was his own little like challenge, trying to do it all. Oh, and 14 Peaks was fantastic. So I highly recommend Torn if you kind of like the naturist, alpine climbing.
Can I get a why the fuck it's called Torn?
I can't remember because Alex Lowell is the name. Maybe because he was torn from their family. I don't really know.
Is there something specific about the accident that the dad died in? Or is it just a great word to represent my heart got torn out?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's interesting, but I really don't know why it's called Torn. John, any insight or?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I mean,
You have a dog named Torn? I'm just saying.
No. Oh my God. No. I don't really know because like I said, it's one of those things like it's based off of Alex Lowell, he was considered like Superman climber, like incredible. And so that's not their last name. I don't know.
Well,
why, John? Did you just look at me like you had some insight?
Uh-oh.
I don't, but I do have another insight. Yeah, absolutely huge in the climbing world. Fantastic climber. Exceptionally well known at the time. Death was a big deal. Partnered with an exceptionally still well known climber now, Conrad Anker, and the other interesting, not for a bad reason, but Lowe's former wife then later married Conrad Anker.
I wasn't going to... Okay, wait, okay. That is a spoiler, but it's really interesting. So the accident that killed Alex, his best friend, Conrad, was there, and it was an avalanche, and it was like, did you go right or did you go left? And if you went one way, you died. And basically Alex and one other climber died, and Conrad did not. And survivor guilt...
Yeah.
That's explored, and it's really your heart breaks for this guy. And she was left a widow with 3 young sons, and who else would know Alex better? So he basically goes to visit the widow, and they end up getting married, I think within like less than 6 months. It might have even been 3 months from his death, very quickly. And the 2 younger sons, that was their father. Like I said, they were very kind of young. One was like 2 or 3. And even the director's journey, Max, because he did remember his father, and he felt like one day his father was there and the next day Conrad was there, and how he had to kind of come to terms with that is very interesting. So the family dynamics, and you completely understand Jennifer as a young widow. But you also, oh my gosh, you're getting a guy who continues to climb, who the same damn thing could happen.
Oof, that's scary.
That's crazy.
And was there with him.
Yeah. So just really, really interesting story. So, but both about archives, going back into archives. See, I tied those 2 together.
Okay, you did very successfully. Good tying together.
So my 2, well, at the end, I'll go back and say what my 2 were. So we recap.
Okay, I'm going to do, it just ended January 16th, but Yellowjackets.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny because for some reason I didn't start it right away. And my husband, Eric, was like, I can't believe you're not watching Yellowjackets. Don't you want to watch Yellowjackets? When are we going to watch Yellowjackets? I think it's time to watch Yellowjackets. I'm like, all right, let's watch Yellowjackets.
He just walks out in a yellow jacket and he's like, hey.
He's so funny.
Let's watch that Rook Crook Nook. For sure.
Yeah. Eric's very funny. He will sometimes just text me a show that we should watch. And the reference John is making is there was a show called The Rook, and he had seen a promo. I forget when this was on or what platform or whatever it was. Might have been HBO. I can't remember. And he just, out of the blue, was like, oh, there's the show we should watch. I don't know what it's called. The Look, the Nook, the Rook. And he did have Rook in there, but it was not the first one.
I was going back and saying it wasn't in there, but I guess maybe it was.
I think it was in there because then he was very vindicated when it turned out that it was. But he had all these rhyming names because he couldn't remember. Anyway, it was very funny. Anyway, so as happens, I watch shows by myself and I watch shows, with my daughter. And then I watch shows with Eric. And a lot of times the show that I'm watching with Eric is because he has kind of pushed it to the top of the list. And it can be, unfortunately, then it's a much slower pace because, you have to sync up when you can watch it together. Anyway, I don't know why I was not initially super excited about watching it. So many female characters I should have been in just from that.
Right.
Probably just the word Yellow Jacket. You're like, no, get out. Get away from my picnic.
It has a creepy image poster that they use.
Well, it does. And I mean, you could tell that it was going to be creepy and scary. So maybe I was turned off by that.
No.
Yeah. So John's like, I'm out. Yeah. So it is fantastic. So currently it's Showtime. I would imagine you could just, on demand it if you subscribe to Showtime. But if you don't, you're out of luck because that's the only place that it currently is. What a fantastic cast. I mean,
I'm watching it. I'm done watching it, actually.
I mean, look, it's not that many. I think it's 10 episodes. It's an interesting balance because we have the younger characters.
A big cast.
So the basic premise, and this is not a spoiler, is that a girls' soccer team is in a plane crash and gets stranded. And then all sorts of shit goes down.
Is the team named the Yellowjackets?
Yes.
The soccer team.
I'm not into it, but go ahead.
Okay. So basically you've got this young group of women who get stranded. And then simultaneously we're cutting to what's going on with the survivors 25 years later. Right. Now, they're very good about making it not super clear who all survived.
There's 4 core women that we follow that we know.
In present day, you mean? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Natalie, Misty, Shauna. And there's one more.
Thaisa. All of the 25 years later cast are fantastic.
Oh my God. Juliette Lewis.
Oh, she's
Christina
great.
Ricci. Melanie Linsky.
Yeah,
and then Tanya Cypress. She plays Thaisa.
Yes. The 4 of them are outstanding.
And so we know they survived because
right. And
there's the flashbacks.
Yeah,
really.
There's a little bit of a mystery of like maybe others survived that we aren't sure. So
Season 2.
And now initially, I don't know why I thought it was going to be a mini series. It's not. It's just season 1, so I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but it's very
not wrap up enough.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, is there going to be another plane crash?
No, but you also don't know everything that happened both with the...
So there could be another plane crash.
No. All right. Well, anyway, so Yellowjackets, super recommend. Showtime, it's really, really good. And, now definitely they're going to get a season 2 and there's more mysteries to unravel.
Oh, yeah. They left tons of cliffhangers. I love that it's all female cast, basically led, like you said. And also the writer and one of the creators is led by Ashley Lyle, I think is her name. And I love that too. It's like, go, 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 go.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, and so if I didn't give a shout out to the younger actresses, they're all amazing. So,
yeah, they did a good job of that kind of the parallel. I do have to say Juliette Lewis I don't know. Her and Christina Ricci
they are phenomenal.
I freaking love them.
They're doing amazing.
Love it.
And not having watched any episodes yet, I'm just checking. Is anyone still playing soccer?
God,
Wait, did
not
the girls
really.
they played soccer in real life though?
The first thing they did after the plane crash is clear a field and play soccer.
Good.
No, they
So,
did
and
not.
probably the
No.
cast when they first met up, they're like, all right, now we're gonna play a soccer game.
Let's
right?
play soccer.
It's scrimmage.
You know what's
Old cast
actually
versus new
interesting?
cast.
When the plane crashes, you would think they would have balls.
Balls,
with them.
soccer balls
There
everywhere.
Really is not balls
Well,
anywhere.
You misunderstand. Soccer balls are kept in their nets. They don't like escape
Now,
the net.
oh my! I will say,
They
one
must not have been traveling.
There are
with
men in
soccer
this
balls.
series, so I'm not trying to say they're not or give them any credit or shout out. I do love the coach.
Oh, the coach is so great.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, his whole thing and how he has to deal with Misty
Is great.
is awesome.
He's great.
And that I think Coach Ben or Coach Scott,
Yeah.
love him. Oh
he's,
my goodness,
He's great.
Okay.
Okay, so Yellowjackets, love it, recommend 100%. Who's next? Is it just you,
John.
John?
Just you,
Me,
John,
not
yeah.
me. Definitely not me. Okay.
John,
it's
go.
it's the new guy, but
Oh, reference
I
to the new girl. Oh, okay.
I almost just did a reference to New Girl because about being ridiculous about sports. Just watched an episode where Zoe Deschanel referred to basketball as basketsball because it's proper grammar because there's two baskets. Classic just day. All right. But no, though I am still watching that. The one I'm going to talk about today is a movie. Missed it when it came out in the theaters last year, 2021, but now it is on HBO for now. But Nobody, the Bob Odenkirk action movie.
Oh.
I have that in the queue.
I know. I've been meaning to get to it. So
You need to do it. I mean, yeah. When it was coming up, we all love Better Call Saul, Bob Odenkirk from way back in the day on Mr. Show.
Okay, hold on. Do we need to bust ourselves out on our Better Call Saul long?
We could. My
been
theory.
on pause for 6 years.
No, that's not totally different. My theory about Better Call Saul is you wait till the next season is out. Then sometimes you wait another year. So you're a good 2+ years behind.
Yeah,
That's
so-
the way to watch a show.
The short version is John and I were watching Better Call Saul together, and yeah, we had a major delay / pause, and we still have 2 seasons to go. It's sitting on my DVR, very, very slowly
Right
getting
to go.
worked.
Oh wow. Okay.
Getting worked through. I mean, which is hysterical because we love it, and yet it's taking us forever to
Maybe
get
you're
to it. And get through
savoring.
it.
I savor watch sometimes.
Ooh, savor watch it.
It's a good one. Yeah, we're
Savor
not
Watch is a
quite
good
doing that, though. It is that good. It is that deep.
I did just finish Lucifer because I was savor watching it.
I feel like there's a whole category of food related how we enjoy our shows. There's Savour Watch, which we just coined ourselves. I don't know why that's not out there. Y'all are slacking internet.
So hashtag savor watch.
But then also palate cleanser. Interesting. And then occasionally I watch a show that's kind of like pate. It's delicious. It's so good,
But
but
it's so
I can't
bad
eat it
for
every
you.
day.
It's also
and
not-
It's also like mashed up goose liver,
It's
so
not
maybe I shouldn't be watching
PC,
this.
right, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Euphoria. I'm talking about you.
By the way, do you realize Lucifer is a spin-off character of Neil Gaiman's Sandman?
Yes, and we'll have to do a whole Neil Gaiman thing because I
We
know there
will.
are multiple fans here at the table. Of
Oh,
him.
yeah.
Oh yeah, for
Though
sure.
the Sandman series is still upcoming.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but the TV version of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, obviously this has a lot to do with Nobody. But
What sidetrack are you talking about? This is not a sidetrack podcast.
This is what you meant to talk about when you brought up this movie.
I mean, look, so we love Bob Odenkirk, but before the movie came out, you're like, an action movie with Bob Odenkirk. Even I, as a easy action movie mark, was unsure. And then it came out and people were like, it's great. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll do it someday. And then so Ed and I watched it at home just this year, 2022, and it was like, oh, you're all totally right. It is totally great.
Okay, got to get to it then.
It's definitely the sort of, it's not, I feel like action movies have devolved into a couple categories, and that's probably an infinite amount of categories because they're not categories. But
like Christmas movies devolved into categories.
That's an interesting point, maybe. But I feel like this is falling into, it's not the like man and child, fighting their way against the world. It's not that one. And it's not John Wick, just absolutely wall-to-wall action.
Straight up
But
fighting
it's,
everybody.
But it's sort of the modern classic action movie of like, there is a ton of great action, but it's also a real movie and story, and there's, a villain or two thrown in there, and it works very well without creating a whole new weird universe of, where this assassin guild does this or that, or, something like that, which I'd love to. Although, funnily enough, the reason I wonder why it's similar, though different from John Wick, which I also love, 2 out of the 4 people, like director, writer, producer, on this, nobody are from John Wick.
Oh.
The writer of the original John Wick wrote this, Derek Kolstad, and the director, who former stunt guy, and that feels like why John Wick ended up being so good, David Leitch, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, produced this nobody. So gives a little bit like, an interesting. And then the director, I think he's Russian. His name is Ilya Nashuler. So I'm probably definitely wrong on how you pronounce that. But he has directed a couple other action movies, including Hardcore Henry, which wasn't incredibly received well a couple years ago, but it was a high octane action movie for sure.
I love John Wick, so if that's the same director,
no, same writer, and the director of John Wick is a producer on this.
Ah, okay.
So it brings some DNA.
It's got some DNA.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
And, you got Connie Nielsen, Wonder Woman's mom, so she's great.
She's always great, yeah.
She's
and
fantastic,
RZA, who does great cameos. I mean, just every movie he's in is he's got such an interesting take on his character, what he's doing. I love it. So he's great in this. And then Christopher Lloyd, I think he took a break and now he's back. Him in this and Tender Bar, it's like, give me more Christopher Lloyd as one of the oldest men on the planet. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody went, he's still willing to do this? Let's use him.
It's fantastic. He's so good.
All right, that is literally teed up in my queue to watch. You have
pushed it to the front of the
pushed
line.
it to the front of the line.
Yeah, you've reminded us that we want to watch it.
Well, similar to a John Wick. It's not that it's this isn't like fake action. It's not super gore, but it's like, this, that guy's really getting hurt. This is for serious action.
And there are dead bodies. Okay. All right.
Yeah, Also, yes, a lot of people dying. I don't know exactly the PG-13 are, they're dying. You're not exactly seeing their brain blown apart, but you're sure that they're dead.
Yeah.
And you don't mind because they're villains. Because obviously all henchmen are villains and we don't care about them.
And henchmen
sadly.
I'll always question. And why aren't there more henchwomen? Because they were smart. Because even the John Wick, at a certain point, when John Wick comes into a room and there's 50 of you, at about number 35, I'd be like, I'm the fuck out of here. I mean, my odds aren't good.
We do
I'm
occasionally
not
get that. Yeah, it's
I
interesting.
think you got that all backwards. In those fight scenes, the last 5 guys are the hardest guys to beat. Everybody that dies early was like, I would like to bow out of this. I died. I didn't get a chance to leave the room.
That's a weird action movie because you're like, well, if there are, yes, physically 30 people can't attack one person at the same time. On the other hand, how can you not overwhelm them? It's hard to...
It seems impossible.
It's a weird action movie role.
And they always say, what are you getting paid? There's no benefits for being a henchman or woman.
I mean, one of the
so
greatest...
what's the point?
One of the greatest hench person, and there is at least one hench woman in Nobody, but in Iron Man 3, which I really love, because I'm a great person. In that scene, so they're in, he doesn't yet know who the true villain is. That is not Ben Kingsley. He still thinks it's Ben Kingsley.
The Mandalorian. No, I'm just kidding.
I couldn't get that out of my head, but it's incorrect. Anyway.
Manchurian, isn't
yes.
it?
Nope.
No.
Manchurian candidate.
Oh my gosh, no.
The Mandarin.
Oh, the
Mandarin orange.
Yes. The orange
Much
is
less
very
sinister
scary.
sounding.
Ben Kingsley playing the Mandarin orange.
Anyway, so our man Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man does not yet know. Stark doesn't know who the true villain is yet, but he's at the villa, in Florida.
Right.
Which gives an interesting, villa, whatever thing happening. And he's currently, tied to a bed frame and, incapacitated in some ways, but he's threatening them. And, the 2 hench people are, totally making fun of him. It's a great scene. And then so when he finally is starting to beat them because, he's now, his science is coming to the fore and his superpower, which is his machine, is coming to him. And so now he's beating people up. That one hench person finally is like, oh, hey, hands up. I'm out. They're so
nope.
weird. And he's like, all right, you can leave. It's one of my favorite hench person.
Me as a
That's
character.
what most
Thank
hench
you.
people should do.
Yeah. Well, we're all stormtroopers.
never mind,
It's
I'm
fine.
out.
Now we're
all stormtroopers.
We're gonna either John or I are gonna have to. I'm gonna have to do the research, or we're gonna have the fan tell us what other Marvel properties that hench person came back in, and if they're part of the Hydra side of stuff, or if they found the good side of the
Oh,
Marvel
yeah.
universe.
You're
Lord.
might be looking for
That's a
something
little
that's
deep.
not there, but it
can
does
look.
exist in Marvel. I think just this specific example, maybe not.
But nobody has henchmen and potentially a henchwoman. I am intrigued even more.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's still a hench person, so maybe that's not the best thing, but
All right.
she is in
I gotta
there.
imagine that
I'm
the
excited.
the 401k benefits or the Roth IRA contribution or whatever like retirement package that you're getting opted into fully vested on the first day is the reason why you stay a henchman, because your family will get taken care of even if you die on day 2.
I feel like no.
I think that's unfortunately definitely not.
That's
feel like
not
no.
the
I
feel
setup
like
usually.
No. Well, if I was a evil like superpowered person, I'd be offering NDAs with good like benefits to my henchmen. I know
That
you're
would be a
gonna
smart
bounce.
move. I mean, you'd get high quality henchmen then.
Well, the best part of that is, as a villain, you would then not follow through when they did die.
100%.
That's true. Yeah.
It's just
You'd
to
be
make
like,
them feel
oh, they're
good.
dead. Whatever.
Dude, you're human shields.
I would very much play dead quite often in the corner.
All right, so obviously this is a lot to do with
Possum
nobody.
henchmen.
But yeah, so currently on HBO, depending on when you listen, it may have changed where it is at that point.
Got it.
HBO
Okay.
Max. Oh, I also think you can watch it on Hulu.
I don't think so, but sure, maybe.
All right, okay.
Google is listing it on Hulu, but the other place that I checked did not list it on Hulu.
All right.
So it's up to you, world. You get to choose.
You get
Your
to try and find
reality.
All right.
Find it yourself. Hopefully, it won't be that hard. Okay, let's do a little recap because I think we're done. So I did Yellowjackets, and side note, also Better Call Saul is still happening.
Oh my God.
Look, we're going to talk about that later. Save it for the pod later.
In the future? Future pod.
And I was watching The Good Place.
Yes.
Yep.
And I watched Archive 81, which is on Netflix. I also want to mention the creator and showrunner, because I love to give women shout outs. Rebecca Sonnenschein. Awesome that it's a woman creator and writer and showrunner.
Love it.
Kudo for her, especially because it's so creepy. Women can do creepy. Actually, we can scare the shit out of men more than probably men can scare the shit out of us.
Probably.
And then
Shh, don't tell anyone.
and that's on Netflix again. And then I watched Torn, which is on Disney Plus. It's a Nat Geo film about the climber Alex Lowe. And John, nobody on
HBO, at least, probably.
HBO Max.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. So thank you for listening.
Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on all of our socials.
And you can recommend us to family and friends. And we have a Patreon where we get into things that we don't necessarily recommend. All right, that's it. Thank you for listening to
What
We Are Watching.